Okay, I've already cut out my shield, and basically all we have to do is sand around the edges, sand the face a little bit, and we'll seal it so that when we put our heavy epoxy coating on, we don't get as many bubbles. It seems that if you don't seal it, the bubbles come out of the wood as the epoxy's drying and it leaves bubble marks. So we're done with that for the moment, so I'll put it off to the side. The next thing we're going to look at is our hammer. We need to cut out these tabs, and then we'll cut the tabs out on everything else so we can start sanding. You can do the tabs in a couple different ways. I just use a little saw. Just take the tabs out. I don't make my tabs super thick, so they're usually not too hard to get out of the way. So there we got our hammer, and chisel, same way. You want to be kind of careful with this end here that you don't get too crazy, because you can break that chisel off the end. That one's done. And we'll do the ribbon. And there's our ribbon. I wait for a while to do my clock face, and the reason being is it gives me something to hold on to while I'm doing the filling in of the letters and stuff. So let me go off and sand these, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've sanded and sealed the areas where I'm going to be doing my lettering on these, and there's a couple different ways you can do this lettering. You can do it with epoxy, and a couple other different ways. I'm trying something new today. I had read that when you're doing the sealing, that you can use the Mod Podge materials to seal it with. So I thought, well, okay, if you can use it to seal it, obviously it doesn't affect the epoxy. I'll use it for doing my letters, and the reason being is that it's a little bit easier to deal with than with the epoxy. So what I'm going to do is the letters on my clock, I think I'm going to do in just white. So I could take some 5-minute epoxy, which I think I will do because I got already the stuff to make it white. And that's what we got. So we'll put some pigment in there. Really doesn't take a lot. Put some 5-minute epoxy in. And again, it doesn't take a lot. And stir it up so you got a nice blend going on. Make sure you get it thoroughly stirred up. And when you're confident you got it all stirred up, just kind of dab it into the recesses. What we're trying to do is fill everything up and make sure we get all the get it filled completely. Just keep on going so you get all of the letters filled, all the numerals and lines and all the things you want filled. And that's all we're really trying to do is fill everything in. Rid of all the bubbles. Biggest secret here is to get rid of the bubbles. Sometimes that's the hardest part. Okay, it looks like that's pretty much where we want it to be. Set it off on the side to dry. Next one up is our woodworking ribbon. This one here I think I'm going to do with gold. I decided to do silver instead, so put some silver glitter in here. Yeah, we'll do this one with the decoupage. So mix some of it in there. And get a stir stick and stir it. Now the thing with this is that it's white until it dries, so sometimes it's a little tough to see. What we're going to do with this one is that we're going to try something different. We're going to try putting it in this syringe thing and just trying to get it into where the letters are. So, try just getting it where the letters are. Makes cleanup a lot easier. Again, the secret here is to make sure you don't have no bubbles. You want to do this stuff pretty early on in your finishing, for the very fact you got to wait for it to dry to finish sanding it so you can continue on. So it takes a little bit of time for it to dry. So sometimes you just got to have some patience. Okay, for those who want to know how I sand my contours, what I'll do is I'll take a piece of sticky sandpaper and put it on my contour. Like that. Since I got a sharp edge here, I think I'll put two different pieces down so I can get that edge. Okay, and then what I do is I take a sanding block or a piece of foam insulation and sand it down until I get the contour that I want to sand. See? Contours coming in there. You see that? And once I get my contour in there, now I can take a piece of sandpaper, stick it in my contour there, and now I have a sanding block that basically fits the contour. Fits my contour. Now I can sand around and get all my edges. That's how I do that. Like I said earlier, I had read on the one of the finish epoxy sites that if you want to help stop bubbles on wood and porous things, seal it with decoupage, Mod Podge, whatever, before you put the epoxy on. Or you could put a real thin coat of epoxy. Well, this dries a lot faster than epoxy. Epoxy is about 24 hours. This is about 2 or 3 hours. So I thought, oh well, I'll try it. What do I got to lose? So here we go. And what we're doing is sealing it. And you want to put a pretty generous coat on here, I'm thinking. Because what we're trying to do is fill all the pores in. So that they don't trap air, and then as this dries, epoxy does produce a little heat. Well, that heat ends up creating a problem for the very fact that heat will make the bubbles expand, which means that they will come to the top. And that's what we don't want, is the bubbles coming to the top. You're wondering why we have the V carving there. That's so I can center the clock. so it's centered with the pocket in the back. The other thing that's kind of nice about doing this is that this is water based and cleanup will be easy.